samsaradava nalaliraloka tranaya karuna gana ganatvam praptasya kalyana gunanavasya vande guru shri charanaravinam Mahaprabhu kirtana nitya gita vaditramadyan manasorasena romancha kampa shutaranga vajo vande guru shri charanaravinam Shri Vigrahara Dana Nityananam Shingarathan Mandira Marjanado Yuktasya Bhaktam Staniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinam Chaturvida Shri Bhagavat Prasado Swadana Triptan Haribhaksha Sangram Kritraiva Triptim Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinam Shri Radhika Madhavayurapara Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam Nam Pratikshanasvadana Lolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinam Vande Guru Shri Charanaravinam Nikunjayo no rati keli sidhai यायालिभिर्युक्तिरपेक्षणीया तात्रातिदाक्षा अतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् साक्षादरेत्वेन समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तस्तथा भायतेव सद्भिः किन्तु प्रभोया प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् यस्य प्रसाद भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसाद न गति कुतोऽपि जायं स्तुवां स्तस्य सत्रिसाद्यं वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणरविन्दम् 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 नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चात्यादेशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasari, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Chaitanya Nityananda, Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasari, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Chaitanya Nityananda, Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasari, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Chaitanya Nityananda, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Neelamadava Radha, Neelamadava Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha, Lakshmi Narasingha, Jaya Lakshmi Narasingha. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Nitai Gaura Hari
की जय। इस्कॉन प्रतिष्ठा विविधि सांस्तपकाचार्य वैष्णव शिरोमणि पतित पावन श्री प्रभुपाद जी महाराज की जय। श्री गौरिया गुरुवर का पतित उद्धार की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भक्त रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भक्त दास सगुण सतगोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर जी की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासारि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। जय परम दयाल श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। प्रेम नाम संकीर्तन एक जनक प्रेम पुरुषोत्तम श्री सच्चिनंदन श्रीमन गौरांग श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु अवतार गौर हरि की जय। गोलोकेर प्रमधान हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। जुग धर्म हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। प्रियतम ट्रांसलेट बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सेवा की जय। शिष्य राधा कृष्ण गोपकुंद राधा कुंज सम कुंज गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। श्री ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन मथुर धाम की जय। The Lordship श्री राधा नील माधव की जय। श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप एक चक्र धाम की जय। परम करुणा श्री गौर निताय की जय। श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। श्री श्री जगन्नाथ स्वामी बलदेव प्रभु सुभद्रादेवी सुदर्शन चक्र भगवान की जय। भक्ति सर्व विघ्न विनाशनकारी सिंहदेव भगवान की जय। पतित पावन सीताराम लक्ष्मण भक्त हनुमान जी की जय। गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री मथुरा रानी की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौरी प्रमानंदे। All glories to the assembled bodies, all glories to the assembled bodies, all glories to the assembled bodies. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Narasimhaya. Pralada Lada Dhaine. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimho.
Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimho.
Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha.
Jato Jato Yami Tato Narsimha.
Bahir Narsimho Hridaye Narsimho.
Bahir Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha.
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade.
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapade.
Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare.
Avakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Kesavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish
Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare
Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare
Jayo Narasimhadev, Jayo Narasimhadev, Jayo Narasimhadev, Jayo Narasimhadev.
Jaya Nisingare Jaya Nisingare Nisingare Jaya Nisingare
Jayo Prahlad Maharaj, Jayo Prahlad Maharaj, Jayo Prahlad Maharaj, Jayo Prahlad Maharaj.
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jai Jai Gurudev.
Jai Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Gurudev Jai Shri Shri Bhakti Parasar Vignash Nakani Shingadev Kuvan Ki Jai Bhakta Shrestha Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai Gaur Pramanandi Hari Shri Vrinda Yai Tulasi Devai Piya Yai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vrinda Yai Tulasi Devai Piya Yai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vrindayai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Srimati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai
Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha
Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namaha
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो ए अभिलाषी
Radha Krishna Seva Pava Hey Abhilasi
राधा कृष्ण सेवा पावो हे अभिलाषी
Radha Krishna Seva Pava Hey Abhilasi
हे तुम्हारा सारन लोय तारा वंचा पूर्णा होय
Jai Tomara Sharanala Taravanchapuna
कृपा कोरी कोरो तारे वृंदावन वासी
Kripa Kari Karatare Vrindavanavasi
मोरो ये अभिलाष विलास कुंज दियो वास
Moraye Avira Velas Kunje Diyava Naya
ने हेरी बोल सदा जुगल रूपरासे
Aminayane Livosada Jugala Ruparasi
निवेदना दरो सकीरनुगत करो
Nivedana Dada Sakiranugata Karo
सेवादि कर दिए करो निज दासे
Sevayadi Kara Diye Karo Nijadasi
दीन कृष्ण दासे कोई ये न मोरा होय
Dina Krishna Das Koi Hey Namara
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न बासी
Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sada Vinavasi
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न बासी
Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sada Namasi
नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्ण प्रेयसी नमो नमः
Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namo
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्म हत्याधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पादे पादे
Kani kani sapapane Brahmatari kani sa Tani tani pranasanti Pradakshina pade pade
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्म हत्याधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पादे पादे
Yani kani sapapane Brahmatari kani sa Tani tani pranasanti Pradakshina pade
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्म हत्याधिकानि च तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पादे पादे
Yani kani sapapane Brahmatari kani sa Tani tani pranasanti Pradakshina pade pade
जय
Hare Krishna
कृष्ण Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi
Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinda Devi
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol
Jai Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki Jai
Jai Shri Vrindayi Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Sattvatai Namo Namah Vrindayai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Sattvatai Namo Namah Vrindayai Tulasi Devai Priyayai Kesava Satya Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Sattvatai Namo Namah Shrimati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Oh Tulasi, beloved Krishna, I bow before you again and again. My desire to obtain the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of years, wishes fulfilled, bestow your mercy upon him, you make him resident of Vrindavan. My desire is that you also give me residence in pleasure groves of Sri Vrindavan. Thus within my vision I will always behold the beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower carry the emissaries of Raj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me your own maid servant. This very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna prays. May I always swim in love with Shri Radha and Govind. Srimati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Svapadatam Kinastava Adashanam Mamatam Karoturu Jatadata Babidat Maturam Astusai Mama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Shri Krishna Ki Jai Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan moment is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we're always anxious. O my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings. And thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you have invested all your transcendental energies. There's not been a hard and fast rule for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by holy names. But I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction for them. Once you chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself the Lord on the street, one should be more tolerant than the street, devoid of all sense of false prestige. I should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth, of Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna. I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I've fallen in this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of birth and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes will be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? When will the hairs on my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I consider the moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I feel all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he should remain so, even if his hand doesn't rightfully by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri 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 Kristakam Ki Jai. The item offenses in matter of chanting the holy name of the Lord that must be avoided, they are as follows. 1. Blaspheme the devotees who dedicate their life for propagating the holy name of the Lord. 2. To consider names of demigods, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, to be equal to or independent of the name Lord Vishnu. 3. To disobey the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature pursuits of Vedic version. 5. To consider the glory of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. 6. To give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. 7. To commit sinful activities on strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. 8. To consider chanting Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in Vedas as fruitive activity karma kanda. 9. To instruct the faithless person by the glories of the holy name. And 10. To not have complete faith in chanting the holy names and to maintain material attachments, if not for understanding so many instructions on this matter. It also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Every devotee who claims to be Vaishnava must carefully guard against these 10 offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success. Krishna Prema. Now let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desired trees, they can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Janmadhyasya yatam vayaditaratascha swara. Tinna brahma daya adikavaye mo jantija surya. Tejo varimrida jata vinimayo jatra trisargo mrusya. Dhamnasvena sada nirasta kuhakam satyang param dhimahi. O my Lord Shri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisance unto you.
I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth.
I meditate upon Lord Shri Krishna because he is the absolute truth
And the primeval cause of all causes.
and the primeval cause of all causes.
Creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes.
Of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universe.
He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations.
He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations.
And he is independent because there's no other cause beyond him.
And he is independent because there's no other cause beyond him.
It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji,
He is the only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji,
the original living being.
the original living being.
By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion.
By him even the great sages and demigods are placed into
As one is
illusion.
bewildered by the illusory representations
As one is bewildered by the illusory representation
of water seen in fire or land seen in water.
of water seen in fire, land seen in water.
Only because of him do the material universes,
Only because of him do the material universe,
temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature,
temporarily manifested by the reaction of the three modes of nature,
appear factual although they are unreal.
appear factual although they are unreal.
I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna,
I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Shri Krishna,
who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode,
who is eternal existence in the transcendental abode,
which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world.
which is forever free from the illusory representation of the material
I
world.
meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth.
Dharma projita kaitravatra,
Dharma Prujita Kaitavutra,
paramo nimatsaranam satam,
Pamo Nirmasanam Satam,
vedyam vastavam atra vastu,
Vidyam Vastavam Sravastu,
shivadam tapa trayon mulanam.
Shivalam Taputrayam Lanam,
Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite,
Srimad Bhagavate Mahamani Krite,
Kimva Parer Ishwaraha,
Kimba Pare Rishvaraha,
Sadyohridi Avarudyate Tra,
Sadyurudya Varidya Titra,
Kriti Bihi Susubhistakshanat.
Kritivi Shushushubis Tatkanat.
Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated.
All religious activities which are material motivated.
This Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth,
This Bhagavad Purana propounds the high truth,
which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart.
which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart.
The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all.
The highest truth and the reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all.
Such truth uproots the threefold miseries.
Such a truth uproots the threefold miseries.
This beautiful Bhagavatam compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity
This beautiful Bhagavatam compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva is
is
maturity.
sufficient in itself for God
It's
realization.
sufficient itself for God realization.
What is the need of any other scripture?
What is the need of the other scripture?
As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam,
As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam,
by this culture of
by
knowledge,
this culture of
the
knowledge,
Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
the Supreme Lord is established within his heart.
Nigama kalpatarur galitam phalam,
Nigama Kalpatoro Galitam Palam,
sukhamukad amrita dravya samyatam,
Sukamakadam Rizatravisangitam,
pibata Bhagavatam rasam alayam,
Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalaya,
muhur aho rasika bhuvi bhavakaha.
Hora Hora Sika Bhuvi Bhavuka.
O expert and thoughtful men relish Srimad Bhagavatam,
Who expert fulfillment, relish Shema Bhagavatam.
the mature fruit of the desired tree of Vedic literatures.
The mature fruit, the desired tree of the Vedic literature.
It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami.
It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadev Goswami.
Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful.
Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful.
Although its nectarian juice is already relishable for all,
Although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all,
including liberated souls.
including liberated souls.
Shinvatam Swakata Krishna,
Shrivatam Swakata Krishna,
Punya Shravana Kirtana,
Punya Shravana Kirtana,
Hirdiantaksto hi abhadrani,
Hridyantasto hi abhadrani,
Vidu noti srihitsatam,
Vidu nati
To hear about Krishna from Vedic literatures,
To hear about Krishna from the Vedic literature,
or to hear from him directly through the Bhagavad Gita,
or to hear from me directly through the Bhagavad Gita,
is itself righteous activity.
it is self-righteous activity.
And for one who hears about Krishna,
And for one who hears about Krishna,
Lord Krishna is dwelling in everyone's heart,
Lord Krishna is dwelling within everyone's heart,
acts as a best wishing friend,
acts as the best wishing
and
friend,
purifies a devotee who constantly engages in hearing of him.
and purifies the devotee who's constantly engaged in hearing.
Nasta presu bhadresu
Nasta praisha bhadrishu
nityam bhagavata sevaya
nityam bhagavata seva
bhagavati uttamasloke
bhagavati uttamasloki
bhaktir bhavati naistaki.
bhaktir bhavati naisthi.
In this way, a devotee naturally develops his dormant transcendental knowledge
In this way, a devotee naturally develops dormant transcendental knowledge
as he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam.
as he hears more about Krishna from the Bhagavatam
And from the devotees,
and from the devotees.
he becomes fixed in the devotional service of the Lord.
He becomes fixed in devotional service of the Lord.
Tadarajastamo bhava
Tadarajastamo bhava
kamalobhadayaschaye
kamalobhadayaschaye
cheta etaranavidam
cheta etaranavidam
stitvam sattve prasidati.
stitam sarve prasidati.
By development of devotional service,
By development of devotional
the
service,
candidate remains steady in his position of pure goodness,
the candidate remains steady in the position of
becomes enlivened by devotional service,
becomes alive by devotional service,
and understands the science of God perfectly.
and understand the science of God perfectly.
Evam prasana manasa
Evam prasanna manas
Bhagavad Bhakti Yogataha
Bhagavad Bhakti Yoga
Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam
Bhagavad Tattva Vijnana
Mukta Sangasya Jayate.
Mukta Sangasya Jayate.
When these impurities are wiped away,
When these impurities are wiped away,
the devotee remains steady in his position of pure goodness.
the devotee remains steady in the position of
I'm sorry. By development of devotional service,
by development of devotional
one
service,
becomes freed from the modes of passion and ignorance,
one becomes freed from the modes of passion of ignorance,
and thus material lust and avarice are diminished.
and thus material lust and avarice are diminished.
Vidyate Hridaya Grantis.
Vidyate Hridaya Grantis.
No, I think I got mixed up here. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, I'm sorry. Vidyate Hridaya Grantis.
Vidyate Hridaya Grantis.
Chidyante Sarva Samsaya.
Chidyante Sarva Samsaya.
Chiyante Chasya Karmani.
Chiyante Sasya
Krishna
Karmani.
Evat Manishware.
Dhritasmanishwari.
Thus, Bhakti Yoga severs the heart not of material affection,
Thus the Bhakti Yoga serves the heart, not the material
and
affection,
enables one to come at once to the stage of a samsayam samagram,
and enables us to come at once to the stage of samsham,
understanding of the supreme absolute truth, personality of Godhead.
understanding the supreme absolute truth of the Son of God.
Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness
Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotees in Krishna consciousness
can one understand the science of Krishna.
can one understand the science of Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, verse number 50.
49.
Is it 49?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Iti putra kritagena
Iti putra krita ghena
so nuptapto mahamuni
sanu tapto mahamuni
swayam viprakrito rajya
swayam viprakrito ragya
naivagam tad achintayat.
naiva khamta dachintasyat.
Translation: the sages thus regretted the sin committed by his own. The sage thus regretted the sin committed by his own son. He did not take the insult paid by the king very seriously. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The whole incident is now cleared up. Maharaja Parikshit's garlanding the sage with a dead snake was not at all a very serious offense. But Shringi's cursing the king was a serious offense. The serious offense was committed by a foolish child only. Therefore, he deserved to be pardoned by the Supreme Lord, although it was not possible to get free from the sinful reaction. Maharaj Parikshit also did not mind the curse offered to him by a foolish Brahmana. On the contrary, he took the full advantage of the awkward situation, and by the great will of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit achieved the highest perfection of life through the grace of Srila Sukadeva Goswami. Actually, it was the desire of the Lord, and Maharaj Parikshit, Rishi Samika, and his son Shringi were all instrumental in fulfilling the desire of the Lord. So none of them were put into difficulty because everything was done in relation with the Supreme Lord. Okay, so this is very interesting. It says, the serious offense was committed by a foolish child only. Therefore, he deserved to be pardoned by the Supreme Lord, although it was not possible to get free from the sinful reaction. Okay, so what is the sinful reaction? That is, that it's beginning of the degradation of Brahmanas in the Kali Yuga. There's a reaction for what happened. But Maharaj Parikshit, Samikya Rishi, and Shringi are pardoned. So it says, the serious offense was committed by a foolish child only. Therefore, he deserved to be pardoned by the Supreme Lord, although it was not possible to get free from the sinful reaction. So the sinful reaction, this was discussed earlier also. Let's take a look. When an offense is done unto the devotee of the Lord, it is very difficult to overcome the reaction. The Brahmanas, being at the head of the social orders, are meant to give protection to their subordinates and not to curse them. There are occasions when a Brahmana may furiously curse a subordinate Kshatriya or Vaishya, etc. But in the case of Maharaj Parikshit, there were no grounds, as already explained. The foolish boy had done it out of sheer vanity in being a Brahmana's son, and thus he became liable to be punished by the law of God. The Lord never forgives a person who condemns his pure devotee. Therefore, by cursing a king, the foolish Shringi had committed not only a sin, but also the greatest offense. Therefore, the Rishi could foresee that only the Supreme Personality of Godhead could save his boy from his sinful act. He therefore directly prayed for pardon from the Supreme Lord, who alone can undo a thing which is impossible to change. The appeal was made in the name of a foolish boy who had developed no intelligence at all. So here we say that when an offense is done unto the devotee of the Lord, it is very difficult to overcome the reaction. Well, in this case, the whole episode is planned by the Lord. So the boy, Shringi, was put into that state of mind in order to have the Srimad Bhagavatam spoken. And Maharaj Parikshit, being an ideal devotee, did not object to his being cursed to die in 7 days. He saw it as an opportunity to be progressive in Krishna consciousness by completely giving up his position as a king, having a great kingdom and being a father and having a nice wife and everything, and accept death as a blessing. And what was the blessing? It was to hear in Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by a pure devotee. So, therefore it says, the Shringi deserved to be pardoned by the Supreme Lord, although it was not possible to get free from the sinful reaction. So, Kali Yuga is going to start. There's no way of stopping it. And this was the first step, because Kali was able to corrupt the mind of a Brahmana, Shringi. And in Kali Yuga, this is a general pattern. When the spiritual leaders of society are corrupted, the whole society gets corrupted. And this is what has happened today, up until today. And by the mercy of the Vaishnava Acharyas, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Lord Chaitanya, the six Goswamis, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and so forth, to Prabhupada, there's an opportunity to stop this horrible degradation of Vedic Dharma by, let's say, fallen Brahmanas. So, what is the solution to this problem? Well, this is explained in first of all, understand the problem, and then understand what the solution is. But see, the Brahmanas in this age do everything to stop that, to stop the solution. Now, I might not be talking about all Brahmanas, but most Brahmanas. They'll do everything to stop that solution. So if we come back to what we were discussing in the last couple of days, we now understand what Sankaracharya was trying to do, but we're going to have a deeper understanding of it hopefully today. What he was trying to do basically was to completely deflect attention from the goal of life and to put people into illusion so that they are not able to attain perfection of life. So in this point, we have to see what came next. First of all, we understood that one thing he did, he changed the meaning of Parinamavada. Parinamavada means direct directly changing Krishna and transformation of Krishna himself, and then equating that to illusion. Well, that's not what actually happens. Krishna transforms his energy, but not himself. So we discussed that yesterday, and there's no such thing as Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. When I first read Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially the Adi Lila chapter 7, I was confused. I actually thought Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya is the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Because, and then I never really understood what Parinamavada, what he meant by Parinamavada and Vivartavada and all that stuff. I got it all mixed up. My mind was scrambled. It's only recently that it's all becoming clear to me. What did Sankaracharya do? He tried to equate the Brahman effulgence as the truth and the material nature as false and an illusion. And that's not true. The material nature is not false because it comes from Krishna, but not by diminishing Krishna's existence as a person, but by expansion of Krishna's inconceivable energies. He has inconceivable, eternal, unending energies, and he can expand them unendingly. And an example of that is the sun in the material world. So Then that's not enough. Sankaracharya goes further. And he changed the Mahavaikya. The Mahavaikya are the great statements in the Vedas that establish the truth. So, right from the beginning of time, the phrase Om Tat Sat was, as explained in 17th chapter, 23rd, 4th, and 5th verse. We're going to look at that now because it's very important to understand what Sankaracharya did. Yeah, 1723 says, Om Tat Sat iti nirdeso brahmanas trividas smrita brahmanas tena vedas cha yagyas cha vihita pura. From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate the supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by brahmanas while chanting the hymns of the Vedas and during the sacrifices for the satisfaction of the Supreme. Okay, so, but what does it exactly mean, Om Tat Sat? Well, it indicates the supreme absolute truth, but how does it do that? Well, that's explained in 17th chapter, verses 24, 25, and 26. So what does Om mean? Om is referring to Om Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam Sadapasyanti Surayo. This is Rig Veda. And it means that the lotus feet of Vishnu are the supreme devotional platform. What does it mean, lotus feet? Lotus feet represents surrender to the Lord, right? When it says, Sarvadharman Prityaja Mamekam Saranam Vrajam. So this complete surrender to the Lord is what's meant by Om Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam, that the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu are the platform of devotional service. You have to come up and transcend all the modes of material nature to get to that platform. And the process for doing that is by regular hearing and chanting in the company of pure devotee or devotees. And so that's the first, what you could call goal of life, is to reach that platform of transcendental goodness, and that's reached by the process of devotional service. But devotional service means you have to accept Shiksha and Diksha gurus and follow their instructions and regularly hear them speaking the bona fide scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and, of course, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that's the first goal. And then Tat is the second goal, and that is one must perform devotional service without any material motivation. Without desiring fruitive results, one should perform various kinds of sacrifices, penance, and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such transcendental activities is to get free from material entanglement. So Om means coming to the platform of transcendental goodness and having accepted bona fide Shiksha and Diksha gurus and regularly hearing them every day, explain the Vedic scriptures. And this is done by engaging in pure devotional service without any material, let's say, purpose, and in other words, purely without any mental speculation and only to please the Lord. So to be elevated to the spiritual position, one should not act for any material gain. Acts should be performed for the ultimate gain of being transferred to the spiritual kingdom, back to home, back to Godhead. And so that is Om and Tat. And then Sat, that means that the objective of all this is to understand the absolute truth. And the Absolute Truth is the objective of devotional service, and it is indicated by the word sat. The performer of such sacrifice is also called sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance, and charity, which, true to the absolute nature, are performed to please the Supreme Person, O Son of Pritham. So you can't actually please Krishna if you have a material desire, even though you're doing sacrifice, penance, and charity. This is the message of Bhagavad Gita. You can see it here in the 17th chapter in these verses, and then in all the verses you can see it, especially 12th chapter, 6th and 7th verse, which says, Yetu sarvani karmani maya sanyasya yat pura mat pura. Ananyanyeva yogena matyayanta upasate te samaham samudaratam mrityu samsara sargarat bhavanmi nachirat parta maya evasita chetasam. This verse says, but those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, that means mamchayo vipicharina bhakti yogena sevate sagunam samitityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who always engages in devotional service and does not fall down in any circumstance attains the position of transcendence and is always and approaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's 14th chapter, 26th verse. No deviation means you never fall down, and you never stop performing devotional service. Or if you do fall down, it can be forgiven if you continue devotional service. Okay, so this verse says, but those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O Son of Pritha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So, when it says Om Tat Sat, this Sat means that one performs their prescribed duties given by Guru or Gurus, and that means that there are many activities prescribed in the Vedic literature which are purificatory processes beginning from the time of conception up to the end of one's life. So they're called samskaras, right? Such purificatory processes are adopted for the ultimate liberation of a living entity. In all such activities, it is recommended that one vibrate Om Tat Sat. The words Sadbhave and Sadhubhave indicate the transcendental situation. Acting in Krishna consciousness is called Sattva, and one who is fully conscious of the activities of Krishna consciousness is called a sadhu. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 3:25, well, Satam prasangam mamavirya samido bhavanti hit karna rasayanam kata tajosanad asva pavarga vartmani shradaratir bhaktir anukramishyati. In the association of pure devotees, discussion of the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very pleasing and satisfying to the ear and the heart. By cultivating such knowledge, one gradually becomes advanced on the path of liberation, and thereafter he or she is freed and his attraction becomes fixed. Then real devotion and devotional service begins. So this is basically an explanation of the process of advancing in Krishna consciousness and devotional service. The first point is that always associating with persons who are Krishna consciousness and who engage in devotional service. Without such association, one cannot make advancement. Simply by theoretical knowledge or study, meaning academic study, one cannot make any appreciable advancement. One must give up the association of materialistic persons and seek the association of devotees, because without the association of devotees, one cannot understand the activities of the Lord. Generally, people are convinced of the impersonal feature of the Absolute Truth, because they do not associate with devotees. They cannot understand that the Absolute Truth can be a person and have personal activities. This is a very difficult subject matter, and unless one has personal understanding of the Absolute Truth, there's no meaning to devotion. The key word is personal, right? Krishna is a person. He's not an it. He's not a simply light emanating. It's much more than that. Vedanti tat tattvitas tattvam yajgyanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabhyate. The absolute supreme, absolute truth is understood in three levels: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, or Bhagavan Krishna. So the words here are satam prasangam. Without good association, one cannot achieve transcendental knowledge. Right. So service must be offered to a person. Non-devotees cannot appreciate Krishna consciousness by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam or any other Vedic literature wherein the activities of the Lord are described. They think that these activities are fictional, manufactured stories, because spiritual life is not explained to them in a proper mood. To understand the personal activities of the Lord, one has to seek the association of devotees. And by such association, when one contemplates and tries to understand the transcendental activities of the Lord, the path to liberation is open, and he is freed. One who has firm faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes fixed, and his attraction for association with the Lord and the devotees increases. Association with devotees means association with the Lord. The devotee who makes this association develops the consciousness of rendering service to the Lord, and then being situated in the transcendental position of devotional service, he gradually becomes perfect. So one time, Prabhupada was asked, he said, "Are your devotees pure devotees?" And Prabhupada said, "Yes." He said, "Really? But sometimes, it doesn't look like it. They're making mistakes." And he says, the fact that they're engaged in devotional service means that they are in the perfect position. But what remains is to perfect the perfection. So Prabhupada nailed it right there. So that's a gradual process, perfecting the perfection. You see, it doesn't happen overnight. But once you're on the track, or once you've come to the level of being always engaged in devotional service, you're free of the modes of material nature. If you deviate from that, you come under the spell of the modes again. But if you don't deviate, then you're on the progressive track, and every day you have the opportunity of having more and more deeper realizations. And finally it convinces you, that's it. I'm not deviating 1 inch or 1 millimeter or 1 billionth of a millimeter from Krishna consciousness from this point on. Okay, so it is said that the transcendental subject matter becomes clear in the association of the devotees. So, therefore, the devotee does not desire any achievement other than pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His life's mission is to please Krishna, and he can sacrifice everything for Krishna's satisfaction, just as Arjuna did in the Battle of Kurukshetra, just as we're seeing that Maharaj Parikshit does in this episode of the 18th chapter, first canto. The process is very simple. One can devote himself in his occupation and engage at the same time in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Such transcendental chanting attracts the devotee to the personality of Godhead. Now, what is our problem? We are attracted to Maya. We're not attracted to Krishna. So what does chanting Hare Krishna do? It helps us become attracted to Krishna. Such transcendental chanting attracts the devotee to the personality of Krishna. Now, when you read that sentence, it looks like there's something wrong with it. It should be, this transcendental chanting attracts the personality of Godhead to the devotee. But no, Krishna is already attracted to the devotee, right? He's already attracted to all living entities. They're his parts and parcels. The problem is we're not attracted to Krishna. So this chanting helps us become attracted to Krishna. The Supreme Lord herein promises that without delay, he will deliver a pure devotee thus engaged from the ocean of material existence. Those who are advanced in yoga practice can willfully transfer the soul to whatever planet they like by the yoga practice, and others take the opportunity in various ways. But as far as the devotee is concerned, it is clearly stated here that the Lord himself takes him back to Godhead. The devotee does not need to wait to become very experienced in order to transfer himself to the spiritual sky. Therefore, if someone asked Prabhupada, should I learn Sanskrit? It takes around 12 years. He said, not necessary. It's already translated with the correct purport. You just learn Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and so forth, and just stay engaged always in devotional service, and there's no problem. In the Varaha Purana, this verse appears. Nayami Paramam Sthanam, and so forth. The purport of this verse is that a devotee does not need to practice Astanga Yoga in order to transfer his soul to the spiritual planets. The responsibility is taken by the Supreme Lord himself. He clearly states here that he himself becomes the deliverer. A child is completely cared for by his parents, and thus his position is secure. Similarly, a devotee does not need to endeavor to transfer himself by yoga practice to other planets. Rather, the Supreme Lord, by his great mercy, comes at once, riding on his bird carrier Garuda, and at once delivers the devotee from material existence. Just imagine that. You can see Krishna coming on Garuda to pick you up, take you back to Godhead. Right? That's what happened to Tukaram. And if you ever see the video about him, at the end you see Lord Vishnu coming on Garuda to Maharashtra, your place, Prabhu, and picking him up and taking him back to Godhead. So that's exactly what's described here. So, similarly, a devotee does not need to endeavor to transfer himself by yoga practice to other planets. Rather, the Supreme Lord, by his great mercy, comes at once, riding on his bird carrier Garuda, and at once delivers the devotee from material existence. Although a man who has fallen in the ocean may struggle very hard and may be very expert in swimming, he cannot save himself. But if someone comes and picks him up from the water, then he is easily rescued. Similarly, the Lord picks up the devotee from this material existence. One simply has to practice the easy process of Krishna consciousness and fully engage himself in devotional service. Any intelligent man should always prefer the process of devotional service to all other paths. Now, why does he say it's so easy? Well, this is explained by Prabhupada. And one second. Let me just see where this is. Yeah, Lord Chaitanya gonna have to find this. If I don't find it now, I'll come back to it. Yeah. So, in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Lord Krishna confirms this statement. That is, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a central point of all relationships. Acting in devotional service to him is one's real occupation. And the attainment of love of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. These three subject matters are described in the Vedic literature. By the way, this is the meaning of Om Tat Sat. In the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Lord Krishna confirms this statement, Vedaischa sarvir aham eva vedya. The actual purpose in reading the Vedas is to learn how to become a devotee of the Supreme Lord. The Lord himself advises, Manmanabhava madbhakta mad yajimam namaskuru. Bhagavad Gita 9:34. Therefore, after studying the Vedas, one must execute devotional service by thinking always of the Supreme Lord, Manmana, becoming his devotee, worshiping him, and always offering him obeisances. This is called Vishnu Aradhana, and it is the supreme occupational duty of all human beings. It is properly discharged in the Varnashram Dharma system, which divides society into Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, and Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudra. This is the whole scheme of Vedic civilization. However, this institution, meaning Varnashram Dharma institution, is very difficult to establish in this age. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises that we not worry about the Vedic system of Varnashram Dharma. Rather, we should take directly to the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and simply hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead from pure devotees. This is the process recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and this is the purpose for studying the Vedas. That's why he says it's easy, right? You don't have to follow all the Varnashram system. You simply chant Hare Krishna and listen. Stani stata srutikitan tanavan manobir. This was what finally Ramananda Roy recommended, and Lord Chaitanya said, yes, this is correct. In this age, you simply have to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita spoken by pure devotees, and the purest of the purest, Srila Prabhupada. His purports are his spiritual ecstasies, he said. So hearing these purports, not simply reading the verses, but hearing the purports also, is extremely important, and discussing this subject matter. So, in the Narayaniya, it says, Yavai sadhana sampati. The purport of this verse is that one should not engage in the different processes of fruitive activity or cultivate knowledge by the mental speculative process. One who is devoted to the Supreme Personality can attain all the benefits derived from other yogic processes, speculation, rituals, sacrifices, charities, etc. That is the specific benediction of devotional service. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, a devotee of the Lord can approach the supreme destination easily and happily. But this destination cannot be approached by any other process of religion. The conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is stated in the 18th chapter, Sarva dharman purityaja mamekam saranam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksisyami masachaha. 1866. One should give up all their processes of self-realization and simply execute devotional service in Krishna consciousness. That will enable one to reach the highest perfection of life. There is no need for one to consider the sinful actions in his past life, because the Supreme Lord fully takes charge of him. Therefore, one should not futilely try to deliver himself in spiritual realization. Let everyone take shelter of the Supreme Omnipotent Godhead, Krishna. That is the highest perfection of life. So how is it that Sankaracharya Sariragbhasya actually deflects the concentration of devotee from Krishna's, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Absolute Truth, but he does it by misinterpretation and by proposing other means or other points that are not germane to the real issue of surrendering to Krishna. So therefore, what did he do? Prabhupada explains, the transcendental vibration Omkara is the sound form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All Vedic knowledge and this cosmic manifestation are produced from this sound representation of the Supreme Lord. In the purport, Prabhupada says, Omkara is the representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in sound. This form of his holy name is accepted as the transcendental vibration Mahavaikya, by virtue of which the temporary material manifestation has come into being. If one takes shelter of the sound representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Omkara, he can realize his constitutional identity and engage in devotional service even though in conditioned life. Now, the punchline to all this is Omkara is non-different than Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Recommended by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. However, there are other Mahavaikyas, right? So Omkara is the principal Mahavaikya. But there's another Mahavaikya called Tatvamasi. The subsidiary vibration, Tatvamasi, you are the same, is meant for understanding of the living entity, but the principal vibration is Omkara. Not caring for Omkara, Sankaracharya has stressed the vibration Tatvamasi. See, they replace what is essential with something that is lesser. They deflect the attention from the... He has to deflect the attention from the personality of Godhead, right? Because he can't convince the Buddhist to accept the Vedas if he explains it properly, because that means they have to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he deflects the attention by not explaining that Omkara is the principal Mahavaikya, and he says that Tatvamasi is the principal Mahavaikya. But Tatvamasi is meant for the conditioned soul. What does that mean? Tatvamasi is accepted as the primary vibration by one who does not accept pranava, meaning Om Tat Sat or Om, the transcendental sound incarnation of the holy name of the Lord as the chief principle in the Vedic literature. By word jugglery, Sankaracharya tried to create an illusory presentation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his relationship with the living entities and the cosmic manifestation. Yeah, he says the living entities don't exist and the cosmic manifestation doesn't exist, and what exists is only the Brahman effulgence, not Paramatma, not Krishna, not Goloka, not Vaikuntha, not the gopis, not all of that. You see, he eliminated all of that by rearranging things, by misinterpretation. Tatvamasi is a warning to the living entity not to mistake the body for the self. That's the real meaning of Tatvamasi. The followers of Patanjali, the false followers of Patanjali, the same thing happened. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras were also misrepresented by his disciples, just as the real understanding of Vedanta was misrepresented by the followers of Sankaracharya, because he gave the real understanding. At the end of his life, he says, Bhaja Govindam. That's the real understanding of the Vedanta. But his disciple, Sadananda Yogendra, formulated the whole Mayavad philosophy and disobeyed his guru. Okay, so Tatvamasi is a warning to the living entity not to mistake the body for the self. Therefore, Tatvamasi is especially meant for the conditioned soul, the chanting of Omkara or the Hare Krishna mantra. See? Hare Krishna mantra, Omkara, same thing. Right? Is meant for the liberated soul. Srila Rupa Goswami has said, Ai mukta kular upasya manam. And that's from his Namastaka, verse 1. Thus, the holy name of the Lord is chanted by the liberated souls. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj says, Nivrita tarsir upagiyamanat. Okay, so that is a very important verse. It says, Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from the spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self? It's a very powerful verse, 10th canto, 1st chapter, 4th verse. So, what are we doing every day? We're hearing about Krishna. This is the goal of life. This is the way to achieve the goal of life, and this is the means and the goal. This regular hearing and chanting. Okay? So, therefore, the holy name of the Lord can be chanted by those who have fully satisfied their material desires, or who are fully situated on the transcendental platform and devoid of material desire. So, when a person has fully satisfied their material desires, that means they're completely disgusted. And they no longer want to be fooled by Maya. Right? Or those who are, it says, or who is completely freed from the material contamination. The name of the Lord can be chanted by one who is completely freed from material contamination. Anya bilasita sunyam, jnana karmadya navritam. Sankaracharya has indirectly minimized the value of the principal Vedic mantra Omkara by accepting a subordinate vibration, Tattvamasi, as the most important Vedic mantra. Okay, so this is. I'll try and conclude all this tomorrow. There's still more. Are there any questions? Prabhupada told Yamuna Devi, this is right after he installed the deities in London, or London Ishwara, Radha London Ishwara, and I came the day after that happened. I arrived there one day too late. Anyway, he told her right before he left, he said, if you simply follow what I have given you, this chanting Hare Krishna and regularly hearing Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and engaging in deity worship and devotional service unfailingly, you will go back to Godhead in this lifetime. A very significant statement. So, we should take that statement. I'm going to give it to you, Prabhu. It's the next statement to post. Okay. I'll show you where it is. We should take that statement as the guiding light of our life. If we do that, all problems will go away, and you'll easily go back to Godhead in this lifetime. Yeah. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.